You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now, TSPN's Amador This Week's Out and About.
Great Amador weekend. I'm Mike Spence, TSPN TV, and we're out here at Kennedy Wheels Tailing Park, and the tailing wheels are the big thing here for today's celebration. But this weekend has been marked with the reopening of the Amador County Museum, and after 5 years, everybody should be commended for getting that museum reopened. And I'm sure people are going to be going there today and really be surprised at how well they've done with the renovation at that Amador County Museum. And the Kennedy Tailing Wheels, you know, this particular park is really historical. And those tailing wheels are, if you haven't seen them, they stretched out over Jackson Gate Road, and they ran uphill. And there were 4 of them that moved the water and the slurry through the wheels and that gold up through the hillside. And those have been renovated, and it has taken many years and many budgets and many efforts by many people to get those reopened. And they're just huge, and we're going to show you today the celebration out here at Kennedy Tailing Wheels Park. And please join us, so please stay with us. Well, we're here today celebrate Amador Tailing Wheels Park, Kennedy Tailing Wheels Park, and I'm with Leslie and Mr. Sweet, our city councilman. And Keith, you were a big part, and Leslie, with the committee chairperson of the, what's your exact title of your responsibility here?
Oh, that's about it. I was just the committee chairperson for the Save the Wheel committee. Day
in, day out. They didn't give you a bigger title than that?
And then big enough for me.
It was. And how many years did you work on the committee?
2.
2 years. It was a long effort. You guys did a remarkable job.
Yeah, we started 2 years ago when we formed the committee. Leslie was one of the first members of the committee. This is a project that I designed and wrote the grant for along with Mike Daly. And we have had a committee of about 10 or 12 people that worked diligently. We met every month for almost 2 years now. This is a culmination of that. And we ended up, as we've said many times, you know, we wrote a $600,000 grant. Leslie chaired the large dinner auction that we had a year ago last April. Raised almost $80,000 in that one event. And without her and her event committee people who were here this morning at 7 o'clock, who were at the the museum last night working, and who were up at Vista Point working. So it's just the community and my friends have just jumped in, Rotarians and Lions and those affiliated with other organizations, the Native Sons. This has been a real community effort.
Yeah, and everything has to come together and fall into place. You can't just work hard every day for 2 years and expect it all to happen like this. I mean, what was your experience with this? Were you pleased with the way things turned out?
Oh, everything was great. Everybody in the community is so happy to be part of such a historical artifact that we have here in our community. And some people don't realize what a one-of-a-kind thing it actually is. And I recommend it to anybody. If you haven't seen it, you need to go up and really look and see what's up here.
Well, we're going to go and take an actual look at the tailing wheel. And, you know, when people talk about gold mining history, you always see different programs, different parts of the Mother Lode and the Northern California region, and they're always talking about how that little nugget came out of that little part of the river. Well, the mining and the real action really took place here in Jackson, in this part of our area and county, and this is where we live, and it's just a remarkable thing for people to see in terms of the actual activity here.
Yes, and this, you know, as Leslie mentioned, this is a one-of-a-kind artifact in the world, and it was the first environmental mitigation activity, you know, in California to mitigate the bad effects of the tailings as they wash down into the streams and so forth. The wheel you're going to look at and photographed more later on in the program will be, you know, 100 years old this year, and now that it's spent 60 of those years out in the weather. Now it's covered up. It'll spend, you know, a steel building lasts how long? So that's how long that wheel will be here for us.
Well, you've preserved that, Keith and Leslie, for generations to come, and we really want to thank you for that. You've been a great resource as well, and Jackson and Amador County should certainly be proud. And we're going to go up and actually take a look at the tailing wheel. We're going to do that in the mural, and we're looking forward to it.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
What we're also doing is the large brown Caltrans signs that direct people to state parks and so forth that you see along the highways. There will be 2 of those up at Jackson Gate and 49 Kennedy Tailing Wheels Park. So we're going to get a lot of traffic down this road and thus into downtown Jackson from that new signage we know.
Well, we have a lot to see here in Jackson and Amador County, but this is a special historical park that people need to come and visit.
Right. And for those of you who are watching this, behind us is the wheel that was actually the Amador's exhibit in last year's state fair.
Oh.
And it was taken down, and it now resides in the back parking lot of Teresa's restaurant. But
well, I thought I saw it. Maybe this is the one that went by in the Italian picnic parade.
Also did that too.
Yeah, it's a great thing to pull around. It does, as no pun intended. You know.
Make sure that you look at the mural exhibits that were done by Rand Huggett. They will give you a complete picture of how this process works.
Those murals are absolutely incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing the new one. Thanks, guys. Well, I've got Rich Farrington, our newest elected, most newly elected member of the board for the Amador Water Agency. Rich, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good. It's Celebrate Amador weekend, and have you been going to the museum? Are you going to go over and check out the new museum opening?
Yeah, this is really great. People need to come and see this new enclosure for the big wheel at the top of the hill here. Last time I was here 4 or 5 years ago, I was really saddened to see how it was in disrepair and looked like it was falling apart. But this is just fantastic. I think we're all proud of the heritage here and the gold mining history, and so I think this really helps with the picture.
It's where we live in this remarkable area. You know, these tailing wheels, that was the first time they started moving that slurry around with a little water in there, and we're moving water throughout the district, and you're in charge of a lot of that right now and making decisions. And how have you been enjoying your experience on the board?
It's challenging, but I think that there are a lot of needs for improvement out there, and creating.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now back to Amador This Week.
In charge of a lot of that right now and making decisions. And how have you been enjoying your experience on the board?
It's challenging, but I think that there are a lot of needs for improvement out there, and creating more fair customer rates and bills. The improvement in fire protection in my district is up country is a big issue. Finding some kind of a replacement for the failing pumps and pipeline where we get our water from the river, and we're going ahead right now advertising a gravity supply line, and I think and then we're even looking at generating some electricity and some revenue out of the water that's coming down the hill.
Well, if we can fix a tailing wheel, we certainly should be able to fix our water system, don't you think?
Yes, right.
Well, you're our new upcountry representative, so I wish you luck there on the Water Agency board. I know we'll be talking real soon, and good luck. Okay. I want to introduce everybody, Mary Molina and Gail, Fair Brothers, Cheryl Ann, I know, and Steve from upcountry. Cheryl Ann, I don't think you've been interviewed on TV very often, have you?
You would do that, wouldn't you? Thanks a lot.
You have an amazing spa up country, and I think people see the sign, but they don't realize that, you know, the type of services that you're providing up country in terms of that day spa thing. I'm not a big day spa person myself, but I mean, you must have a great clientele up country who are appreciating that.
Well, I opened up the day spa 4 years ago. My husband and I came from the Bay Area, and I had a spa there for 8 years.
I won't hold that against you.
I know. Well, we lived in the Half Moon Bay Area, so that was really nice. But I was there 18 years, and Steve retired, and I'm not ready. And I love skincare. I love making a difference in people's skin.
Well, having it up country is unusual, so you don't have to go all the way out to Folsom or someplace. And Steve, your skin is looking pretty good today.
I know, right?
She does a fabulous job.
She gave you a facial.
74 years old.
Oh, well, you're looking pretty good for that age.
Most of my clients are women.
I'm sure they are, and I'm a Bay Area transplant too, so I was just teasing you. But you know, recently our upcountry, you're located directly across from Young's Payless Market, and we had that big issue with communicating the need for keeping that market upcountry, especially for our older folks who need produce and fresh meats and such. And that was a successful effort, and I know you were a big part of that effort up there. So I wanted to commend you for all your energy that you put into that.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It was important. I felt very strongly in my heart that the community needed the IGA. There's many seniors there that would be lost without the store, and Steve and I own property there, and we plan to grow old there. So I have a strong investment, and I'm so happy.
Oh, I know it is. Everybody should be thrilled about that. And there was an issue. People were kind of concerned because you don't want to tell someone what to do with their business if they decide to retire and sell their business. That's certainly within their right to do so. But I think there was more of a need to communicate, and I'm glad that it was well received by the corporate folks on the other end at the Family Dollar store, who, you know, may have realized that there is a difference between a family business, a family-owned business that we have, and a corporate business. And it was really an issue of needing, you know, that family business there to serve the community. And I'm glad that the owner, Kevin Young, was able to work that out and stay in our community, because we really appreciate him.
That was so kind-hearted of him, because you're absolutely right. He's a citizen, and he can do whatever he wants with his life, and no one should dictate. And I think that he really saw the value of how much the store meant to us in the community, and I think he had a change of heart. So that was very commendable. The task force that I'm on worked tirelessly. I was not the only one. There was many of us, 8 or 9 of us, that are going to celebrate this victory for the community.
Well, I'm sure there'll be a big celebration, and I know I've had Lynn Morgan on the show and the whole upcountry group there, and they've been doing an excellent effort for the last 7 or 8 years since I've been in Amador County. So it's great to have people up there who are kind of watching out for our interests. And I want you to just enjoy the day today. And thanks so much for coming on TSPN and talking a little bit with us.
So much. I appreciate that.
And go on up and have your facial and your nails and get a what do they call it, a pedi and a naily, or what do they?
I do a lot of anti-aging. I don't do pedicure.
A mani and a pedi.
I don't do that. I do skin.
Oh, skin care. Yeah, all about the skin. Oh, well, you have lovely skin. Thanks so much, and good luck up there, up country. Okay. I'm sitting here with the person who just did about 8 songs. How many songs did you sing, Sarah?
5.
5 songs. Sarah Daly. And anybody who doesn't know Sarah, Mike Daly's daughter, our city manager's daughter, and Linda Daly, obviously. And I was just amazed at the sound of your voice. I didn't even know that you sung.
Thank you.
We'll have to get your guitar and actually blend you in there and have you sing a song from the camera there. Did you enjoy being out there in front of the whole crowd here?
Yeah, it was fun. I've never done it before, so I mean it was good. It was a good time.
How can you be so shy talking into the microphone, but you can get up there and just sing your heart out when you have a guitar and a ukulele in your hand?
I don't know. It's
a little different, huh?
More comfortable.
When I'm sitting next to you, it makes you nervous? You just not graduated, but you have another year left, but you just finished your junior year at Argonaut High School?
I just finished my sophomore year. So
sophomore? Oh, I thought you were in Tori's class. You have one more year?
Yep.
You're 1 year, but well, you're doing great for that sophomore level. And I know all your family's sitting here watching you, and they're just really proud of your ability to get up there and perform today. This is a wonderful celebration and a great time to do it. I'm sure you're pretty excited about the tailing wheel and the whole park here, huh?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really neat.
It is pretty cool. And I'm looking over here at our mayor, Pat Crew. He was our last week's butter break winner. I had butter. Yeah, no, you only win once in a lifetime, Pat. Pat was in the middle of meetings, these mayoral meetings in his office last week, and I brought butter in there to deliver his gift certificate, and he took the time to tell everybody, hang on, let's just adjourn for a while.
take a break.
We're going to take a break, and we're going to get Butter up here and take a picture with Butter. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was great. Jose's Restaurant, $25.
Did you already drink that $25 worth of margaritas?
Not yet, no. Haven't been there yet.
I'm sure it won't take long. We'll get you another one here soon. What an amazing weekend to celebrate Amador with the Tailing Wheels Park and the Amador County Museum and Vista Point.
Yesterday, yeah, that became very nice up there yesterday.
That Vista Point area is just a remarkable view from up there, and I don't think many people have ever stopped to have a picnic there, but I'm sure we're going to get a lot more activity in there.
Oh, yeah, with the new paving and the drinking fountains. I mean, it's a regular rest stop now. And I've noticed quite a few more people just since they've been in construction. And one of the things that I liked, the Caminetti Monument, no one ever saw that driving down by Sutter Street at 40 miles an hour. Now that it's up there in the park, it's quite a tribute to Anthony Caminetti.
It is, and most people, as they pull into Jackson, that's the first thing that they see. And if they do stop at that little Vista Point and take a break to just take that view in, it's a remarkable view from up there.
And the interpretive signs are really good too, yeah.
And the memoriam also to our veterans. I mean, there's just a lot of meaningful things up there at Vista Point. It was great to see that reopen. It just turned out great.
Yeah, I mean, I told Keith Sweet, who was kind of the ramrod, it looks better in person than it did on the schematic. It does. I thought it was too crowded because it was kind of on a flat piece of paper. Well, it was on a flat.
Right.
I didn't have the picture of it rolling away. I thought there was too much stuff crammed into one little spot. That's not the case at all.
Yeah, the retaining walls and all the work that was done up there, it just has a lot of depth, and people, when they pull into a little Vista Point, they just normally get a little wall, and that's about it. But there is so much up there to see.
And the gear, those two gears stacked down the hill, have you seen those yet?
Yes.
Donated by the Crowley family from the Argonaut mine. Those are cool also.
Yeah, I didn't know
kind of
exactly
a signature
what story on that was.
Yeah, I just found out yesterday. Met John Crowley from the family. There's a little plaque on it, which is good. Yeah.
That's great. Well, please enjoy the day, and thanks so much for chatting with us, Pat.
Oh, ain't no problem.
Yeah, this should be easy for you. This is a good one. Right. Good to see you. That was an amazing. I didn't realize Sarah sung so well. What a voice.
Yeah, well, she's just been picking away at home, and we don't see her too often when she's
I bet she doesn't sing for you at home.
No, she doesn't. No.
No, only for the public. I'm with Mike Daly, city manager. I'm sure everybody knows Mike. I didn't introduce you properly, but I wanted to thank you for chatting with us. We're really, enjoying this weekend with the museum reopening, and Vista Point yesterday, and now the Tailing Wheel, Kennedy Tailing Wheels. It's an amazing addition to Jackson.
It's a fantastic project. We were very fortunate to get the grant funding and work with everybody. It's been a big effort to get the building up there, and it looks, at first I was a little worried that it would kind of take away from what you see with the Tailing Wheel, but now that it's up and you can still see it through the glass, you really appreciate more, I think, how they worked with the building on top of them and what it would have been like. So it's really neat. It's really worth coming out to see.
Preserving it for future generations and protecting it from the weather is the key.
Well, that little detail too. Yeah, that's a good thing. So, we first had this idea back when Keith was on council around 2001 to put a cover over it, but it was just going to be like a aluminum type, corrugated aluminum roof on it, not a whole building, just to keep the weather off of it, maybe the direct sunlight. But this is even better with the building that's very much like the original ones were, and the pavement, so people with access issues can get up there and see it, and hopefully it'll be there for generations to come. Brandon Huggett did amazing artwork at
I'm looking forward to seeing that new mural. I like the one over at the Costless Market there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the old one is probably going to always be my favorite because my son's name is Alden, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
And on the beginning of that mural, it's Alden Jackson being the founder of Jackson. I didn't realize that.
Indeed, it is, yes.
So they have his name up there, so I'm always going to prefer that the one over at the Costless Market. But we're going to look at that new mural, and I'm looking forward to seeing the wheel and getting up there and actually seeing it.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
We're going to head up there right now. Thanks.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
Especially up in the Sierra Nevadas, but what part?
All over. Calaveras.
Just about every foothill town there is out here.
Well, we're glad to have you here. What a great day to be celebrating Amador with this Kennedy Tailing Wheels Park. And you guys come to a lot of the different functions. I see. I think you've even been on TSPN, haven't you?
We have.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. We've had you in the studio. I know there's still gunshot holes in the ceilings there.
Kind of trigger happy sometimes, you know.
Every time I see a hole in the ceiling, I think it was those Sierra Nevada guys.
Yeah, that's it.
That was us.
Well, it's great to be out here and celebrate, you know, historical things here in California. We just raised the flag with a new design, and that center star representing the state of California. That's a pretty unique little item.
Yeah, that is. That's quite the flag.
Yeah, we can all be proud of some of the different things. We had Vista Point reopening this weekend, and you know, it's a great memoriam to our, you know, veterans and different parts of history here in Amador County. And then we have our Amador County Museum that's reopening today as well over there. Have you guys all been over there to see that?
Not yet.
What'd you think of that?
I was there last night. It was beautiful.
It is really amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
They've
Something everyone ought to see.
They've done just an incredible job renovating with all different types of items and new things. I saw a picture of Abraham Lincoln in an old frame in there, and my feet, I thought I was moving, but my feet were stuck to the floor. I was just stunned.
Huh? Just struck you.
I couldn't believe some of the items that were just sitting on a shelf. I didn't want it to fall over. I was kind of pushing it back. I was afraid it was going to fall over. You know, we want to protect our history and make sure that it's preserved, and you guys are a great example of that. And thanks so much for always, you know, you're a resource here in our county to have you here and all the different celebrations. I mean, it's wonderful for the county.
Yeah, we really like coming out to them. Yeah, they made us leave our guns at home today. They thought maybe we'd do some claim jumping.
That's the 4th of July, you know, where you fire off the guns anyway. Have a great time today, guys.
Thanks for talking with us.
With Mr. Arata, right?
Right. This is Elbridge Post. He was born in Sutter Creek. He actually at a ranch out beyond Knight Foundry. And I always tell the story, he must have wandered by Knight Foundry as a young man, and he got sucked in and became an apprentice machinist. And he worked there for a number of years, became a journeyman master mechanic at Knight Foundry. And he then moved to Kennedy Flat and became the master mechanic at the Kennedy mine.
And had a part in the engineering of the actual wheels themselves.
Right, he supervised construction of the wheels.
That's remarkable. And this particular one that fell apart, did he ever give you any word on that before he passed on? This is way back when. Can you believe one is still standing that they were able to restore?
These were all standing when I was a kid in the 50s and early 60s. I think the sign here says this one fell in 1963.
Oh, not too long ago then.
Yeah, well, depends.
Relatively. Everything fell in the 60s, I thought.
Right. Anyway, we still have two wheels standing. The one that we've now covered and are protecting, and number one is over by the amphitheater that's being supported with cables, and probably, you know, it's out in the weather. It's going to fall down someday.
And now, where is the mural located that shows all the different wheels? It's further down. We're going to take a look at that.
Yeah,
I'd love to take a close-up of that.
Here. That kiosk has been there for a long time, but as part of this project, they went through and totally refurbished it with a, you know, good information.
Hey, Mr. Arata, the first wheel number one, you see that it's kind of going over a bridgeway. Was that Jackson Gate Road when you look at that? Where is that first one?
wheel number 1 and 2 are right over this first hill on the other side of Jackson Gate Road.
And that road that goes through there, was that the original Jackson Gate Road?
That's Jackson Gate Road here, sure.
Right.
Where all the cars are parked.
Right. Well, that's remarkable. We'll have to look at that mural to get a fix on exactly where we are.
If you look at on the hillside over there, you'll see some concrete blocks. Those are the foundations for a wooden flume that carried the sand slurry from wheel number 2 to wheel number 3. Wheel number 3 lifted it. It flowed to wheel number 4 and then finally went over the hill into the holding pond.
And that was the environmentally sound thing to do instead of letting it go all over the place.
If you look at some of the old photographs of the flat out below the Kennedy and the Argonaut mine, you'll see that whole area out there is covered with tailing sand.
Yeah, they were trying to consolidate it in one area.
Yeah, confine it so it didn't go down to the valley.
Well, you had a wonderful grandfather, great engineer, I could tell you that.
Self-taught, like a lot of the guys were at the time. They learned from the people they were working with. Self-taught. The books that are here are catalogs that he purchased as part of his work.
Do you keep this old English Land Rover going yourself? Do you do the mechanics?
My wife and I drove around in those when we were volunteers back in the 70s, so I had to have one for a town car.
So the engineering gene is going to pass down through the generation a little bit. Well, thanks so much for talking with us.
Nice talking to you.
Enjoy the day. Well, we finally made our way up to look at Rand Huggett's new mural of the Kennedy mine and the wheels and the way that they were structured, and it is beautiful. You know, you can see the tailing wheels as you kind of lead up to those, and the way that they were interconnected. And Rand Huggett's work is just amazing. I've seen the other mural in the Cost Less Market, but this is a remarkable one as well. And you can see how the tailing wheels were interconnected going over Jackson Gate Road and up the hill, and then working its way, that slurry up the hill to the top and then off to the back side. And the impound dam in the back, which is just a great way to bring all that, you know, all those tailings up there instead of spreading them out all over the county. It was a real environmental thing to do, and the views from up there are just astounding. Great history and a great mural. We showed it from one end to the other, but it's actually in 4 parts. If you stand directly in front of it, you'll never know by looking at it with the camera. But when you come out here to the park, you really do need to stand in front of each section and look at each individual section and then move your way down. It took years to finish this mural. It's just, Rand Huggett's done a beautiful job on this. Something for generations ahead to come by and enjoy.
We are going to Mr. Tom McClintock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, folks. It's a hot enough day without me adding too much more to the hot air, but let me just say that this is an important occasion for a number of reasons. First of all, because of the contribution this makes to tourism in our region, which is now absolutely essential to the prosperity of our local communities. It's also a testament to the community that raised so much of the money to preserve this artifact. It's also, two very reasons. That this is a tangible link to our past. To recall that this mine operated every day, year in and year out, for 80 years and pumped millions upon millions of dollars into our economy. That tangible link to the past is important because it also points our way back to the future. This is a reminder of the enormous resources, the wealth of resources all around us that are available to add to the prosperity of our communities if only our government will get out of the way and let them prosper. So with that, this is not only a link to the past, but also an important direction sign to the future. And with that, I thank you, Mr. Mayor, for everything that you've done, and all of you for being here today.
All right. Very much. All right, as you may be well aware, in the California State Senate, we were an orphan for 3 or 4 months, maybe? Yeah, from the 14th District, Tom Berryhill is now our state senator, and we have his representative who would like to say a few words, Mr. Dana Jorgensen, which most of you know. Hello, Dana.
I'm pleased to be here today. Pat, turn around a little bit. No, other way. Other way. I was thinking about this. You know, we've had a difficult time the last 5 or 6 years, but I think something that we're doing here today, like the congressman said, is leading us to a better future. And I want to go to Pat's shirt here because I was looking at the Jackson logos. And you have the wheel here, you have the National Hotel, and St. Sava. Now I'm going to take St. Sava out because I think they're doing okay, but I'm going to substitute the museum for them. And the museum, you got a group of private citizens that said, we have this asset, we want to get it out there, it's part of our economy, it's got a story to tell, and it's open today, and they've done it.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. And now back to Amador This Week.
I'm pleased to be here today. Pat, turn around a little bit. No, other way. Other way. I was thinking about this. You know, we've had a difficult time the last 5 or 6 years. But I think something that we're doing here today, like the congressman said, is leading us to a better future. And I want to go to Pat's shirt here because I was looking at the Jackson logos. And you have the wheel here, you have the National Hotel, and St. Sava. Now I'm going to take St. Sava out because I think they're doing okay. But I'm going to substitute the museum for them. And the museum, you got a group of private citizens that said, we have this asset, we want to get it out there, it's part of our economy, it's got a story to tell, and it's open today, and they've done it. You have the tailing wheels, you have Caltrans, the city of Jackson, you've had government come in and say, this is an asset for this community, let's fix it and get it better. And you have the National Hotel, which you have a private individual, corporation that said, this is a jewel, bring it back, this is an asset, and he did it. So all three of those things, you have government, private citizens, and the private business come together and make all of these three assets that are on our logo right here better, and they'll be there for my grandchildren, and that's a wonderful thing. It's going to help our economy, and I think that's a template for all of us going forward of making our community better. And I'm looking forward to a great economy and things getting better and better. So I'm really pleased to be here. And I have a California Legislature certificate presented to the City of Jackson in honor of the grand reopening and dedication of the Kennedy Mine tailing wheels, June 15th, 2003. 13? Oh yes, 13, wow. And it's signed by Senator Berryhill and Assemblyman Bigelow. And I'm proud to be here, thanks.
All right, great.
Well, I have the distinct privilege of being here with our district representative, U.S. Congressman Tom McClintock. Thank you so much for taking the time to come by and speak with us.
It's a pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Thank you. What a day here for Amador County to celebrate Amador with all of these three locations, Vista Point, the museum, the Amador County Museum that was closed for 5 years, is finally reopened, and now we have Kennedy Tailing Wheels Park. What a great addition to Jackson area.
Well, absolutely. As you know, tourism is becoming a more and more important part of the economy, and this is a major contribution to that.
but as I said earlier, it's far more important, not just as a reminder of the prosperity that our community once knew as mines like this were operating. This one 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 80 years. There are folks that are looking now at the enormous resources around us and saying, why aren't we prospering from these resources today? The only thing that's changed between now and then is government, and that's within our power to change back.
Well, here in Amador County, and by the way, thank you so much for coming out here. I know you have a busy schedule to come to these events and to see these openings, to see these changes happen. That must be refreshing to see something happening with the way things are going throughout the country.
It is. I just hope that in future days we'll see some of these mines reopening and doing what they had been doing for many, many decades, and that's pumping millions and millions of dollars into our local economy.
Well, when people come to the area here and they see these types of state parks and facilities and they see the area of Amador County, they have to be impressed with what we're doing here.
Well, what we're doing here, and even more what we could be doing here if we simply prospered once again from the resources all around us.
What do you find to be the biggest issue in Congress now that you're out there with all that activity? What's the primary thing that really concerns you?
Well, I mean, nationally, I don't think there's a more important or serious matter than the use of the IRS, one of the most feared and powerful agencies within the United States government, being used to target, intimidate, and harass and threaten tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of Americans strictly because of their political beliefs. We cannot tolerate that kind of conduct by this government. And if we do, I think we are well on our way to losing our fundamental freedoms as Americans. Here in this region, you may well be aware of a proposal by the National Fish and Wildlife Service to declare basically the entire Sierra Nevada as a critical habitat for the mountain yellow-legged frog, which would be absolutely devastating to what remains of our economy in terms of grazing, timber, and mining throughout this region. So we have a very serious threat from our government here locally and a very serious threat from our government here nationally. And both of those need the undivided attention of the folks in this community, in fact, the folks across the country.
Yeah, that is the big problem, is that we're not aware. We're just, that's why we have a great representative like yourself out there in Congress. We have to make sure that we're keeping an eye on things and people, know exactly the extent of what's happening out there.
And that's critical. Remember what Lincoln said on his way to his inaugural. He said, I appeal to you fellow citizens constantly to bear in mind that not with the president, not with the office holders, but with you is the question, shall the liberties of our nation continue to the latest generation? Ultimately, that's the responsibility of each of us as Americans, and that's the responsibility that we delegate at our own peril.
Well, that's a truism, and if you go to the Amador County Museum today, you'll see a picture of Abraham Lincoln just sitting indiscreetly on a shelf, and you might think that might fall off the shelf, so push it back, make sure it's not hanging off the edge, because it's a beautiful frame and a beautiful picture of Abraham Lincoln. So very well said. Thank you so much, Congressman, for coming and joining us with this celebration here today.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN. Amador This Week's Out and About has been proudly brought to you by